All right, so I'm going to turn this over to Heather and Lori from Buffalo, Toronto Public Media. They're going to introduce themselves and then share their presentation.
All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Lori Oberdorf. I'm the Director of Foundation and Government Relations for Buffalo Toronto Public Media. I'm joined by Heather, who is
Oh,
our, go ahead.
no, I thought you were going to do that to me. I'm Heather Hare. I'm the Vice President of Marketing and Creative Services.
So just a quick little ditty on our station. We are located in downtown Buffalo. Go Bills, also home of NFL MVP Josh Allen. So we're going to hang on to that. And we serve the 8 counties, western counties of New York and southern Ontario. So we are a joint licensee. We're community licensed, and we have 3 television stations and 4 radio stations. So we can probably jump into my first slide. So I've been with Buffalo Toronto Public Media since September of 2022. So kind of a public media newbie, but prior to that, I had a long career in nonprofits, human service space, mostly, the small ones where everybody does everything. So I have background in marketing, special events, public relations, youth development, seniors, grant writing, evaluation, you name it, I've done it. And along the way, political relations and government affairs. So when I started here, they had changed the title from my predecessor to include government relations or government affairs. And we started our politician parade. So since the fall of 22, we've had over 60 pitch. And that has been a mix of city council members, county legislators, all the way up to assembly members in the state, senators, and Congress people as well. So I'm just here to give you a little tips on how we approach these.
Good boy. Yeah, the little tiny birdie, huh?
I wanted to give everybody some practical information on how to schedule them if you're not doing them already. So first things first, you want to find out who your representatives are. If you don't know them, there's multiple ways to find out. There's Find My Congressman and Find My Senator on the federal level. There's also a state in New York anyway. There is state opportunities to look for your senators and assembly members, and then all the way to your city councils. So we have a whole list. This is just a piece of it. So how the New York State Senate's broken down, who's there, what's their political affiliation, what's any of the leadership positions that they hold within those bodies. And from that list, we kind of prioritize on who we would like to see come into the station. So we have a list that we like to prioritize and then work our way down it. As far as this, I would say that don't, I think we have a tendency to be like friends versus foes. But don't always assume, because we've been very pleasantly surprised along the way about people that we may have thought, oh, they're never going to like public media, and they have been some of our biggest supporters. So we had one state senator in who we were a little nervous about, and we couldn't get him to leave. He was supposed to be here for an hour. He was here for an hour and 45 minutes. And his comms guy was like, we kind of have to leave. So don't have any preconceived notions about who your supporters may be, and really just kind of go for who you think would have the most benefit for your station. So booking a tour, get ready for a lot of back and forth. The best way I have found to do it is to go directly to their webpage, their official page. Usually there is a contact information. I am not a big fan of like, let's fill out the form and hope that they get back to us. So I will try to find someone's email address that goes directly to them, and then just ask them, say, hey, I know you're not the person I'm supposed to talk to, but can you forward this to your scheduler or your chief of staff or whoever it needs to be? That way you're not waiting for a contact us page, but as a last resort, it's there. And you can always do the old fashioned way and call their office and request a tour. But just be prepared for a lot of back and forth with the scheduling, and also be prepared for some last minute cancellations depending on votes or things that come up. We've had a number of those where I think I'm on a year trying to get somebody back in. It just, every time we schedule and a snowstorm hits or something else where they can't make it. So don't take it personally, I guess, is my point to that. Next slide. So before the tour, and this is probably the most important part, is to really research your legislator, know what's important to them, know what is important to their districts, what's in their district. Is it partnerships that you already have? Maybe, a big museum in your area is in their district, or a state park or a national park. So what committees and caucuses are they on? Especially caucuses, because they join those willingly. So it usually indicates what type of, where they're going politically and what's important to them. And then we also include their key issues, their key accomplishments, and then I really dig deep. So I will try to find stuff on their spouse, their kids, their education, what they have done prior to politics, if they're on any charitable boards, um, stuff like that. So
Hey, Lori, can I interrupt just for a second? It was really interesting. We were hearing you loud and clear, and then your volume got low. I don't know if there's anything going on your side.
not that I'm aware of. Is it better now or?
Yeah, well, it's still a little low, but I mean, if you talk loud, I think we're fine.
I got no problem talking loud. So also, for background sources, Google is your friend. Just be a little critical, obviously, news people, of what the sources are, but you also want to check out their official government page. Their campaign website also is a really good, look into what's important to them, what they're campaigning on. Wiki, Ballotpedia, other news articles, maybe some profiles that other news entities or you guys have done on them, but really have a working knowledge of what's important to them, and what they're going for in their next term. So we have a plan, have a plan. You don't just want them to show up your front door and you're like, all right, let's check things out. We have it down to a science. So we have it timed out. As you can see, this is a real planning document, and who will be accompanying the legislator and where we're going to start. So we have 2 floors in our building, where we're going to go and what we're going to end up with. So next slide. So on the tour, they're here, you're in your building, it's time to shine. So we put out a Teams message letting everyone know that we're gonna have a special visitor in the building. If you have TVs throughout your building like we do, we have put special welcome signs up on the screens just to make them feel welcome. And then we kind of have staff strategically placed, but we make it look casual. So when we walk into our newsroom, I always have a staff member there waiting to greet the legislator. And by some chance, we always happen to bring up stories that we're working on that fit right into their areas of interest. So you always want to have a couple things up your sleeve and also be prepared. I didn't put this in there, but be prepared for it to, maybe go in a direction that you're not expecting, but make sure everyone is prepped and they know, and maybe there's some things you don't want to mention. And that is also just as important. So we tend to stay away from any sensitive or controversial topics. We don't want to get into any sort of altercation or heated conversation. We try to just to keep it about the great work we're doing that aligns with their interests. A lot of this has been around opioids in our neck of the woods, and I'm sure applies to many other stations. Any of our education work, community events, stuff like that. So we also we take pictures. I mean, feel free to share them on your social. The staff is usually the elected staff usually will come and take pictures while you're there, but make sure you're sharing those as well on your channels. And then you've gone through everything. We will do the tour, and then we will go and show them a sizzle reel. We'll talk to them. We have our president and CEO on the tours all the time, and he will talk about any of his initiatives, anything. And we also ask them for their feedback. What are you seeing in your community that we can help you with? Is there issues that are, that maybe we picked up on, or maybe there is other things that we're just not aware of. So that's been a really good dialogue back and forth, and we've gotten some good feedback from legislators about things that maybe weren't on our radar but should be, and it improves the overall relationship, in my opinion. So as they're going out the door, you're going to want to give them your standard takeaway folder. So information about your station, where your coverage maps are, how do those intersect maybe with their districts, any partners that you work with, especially if they're in their district, business cards, anything you want to do. I would also encourage you to give away some station swag, but be very mindful of ethics regulations. So each state is different. New York's, I believe, is at $15. Federal, I think, is 25 at the moment. That may have changed. It's the last time I looked, but anything that's worth more than that, you cannot give them. So make sure you are up on that, because they will ask. They will say, how much is this worth? There is a little caveat sometimes if it's branded and not resellable, it doesn't count, but make sure you look those up. And then we always follow up with a handwritten thank you to the legislator and the staff that attended. So, and remember, the more you do, the easier they get. So at first it's going to be a little chaotic and you're not going to have a flow, but by now we have this down to a science here because we've done so many of them. We've also expanded a little into some foundation visits too. So the tour, the template, that's the word I'm looking for, is working well for us. So next slide. So follow up down the road. So you really want to adopt the mindset that elected officials and legislators are your partners. They also are invested in your communities. They want to see things happen in a positive way. So include them in your newsletters, your distribution lists. And we are working on doing a quarterly newsletter that's just for elected officials. So kind of the highlights from the past quarter and then the highlights going forward. Or yeah. And then station invites. So if you're having an event, consider inviting them, but I do caution you to be mindful of their schedules and be very strategic about what you invite them to. You don't want to invite them to everything under the sun because it's never going to happen. You really want to prioritize what you're inviting them to. And does that fit with their priorities? Does that fit with maybe one of your priorities to have them there? And don't be mad if a staffer attends in place of the legislator. They're only one person. And a lot of times you're working with the staffers as opposed to the direct legislator. So they may send somebody, treat them as you would the legislator. And then always have a staff member designated at the event. So we have an event, senior prom for senior citizens. We have about 200 seniors attend. We have live music and tables for people to learn how to volunteer. And we invite the elected officials. One, it's a good voting demographic for them. And two, it's really, you know, a unique event that we have. I am always the one that's meeting and greeting these people at the front door. You don't want a legislator or their staffer to come in and not be recognized, not know where to go, not know who to talk to. So make sure you have somebody designated. And then within your community, outside the station, if you're attending community events like chambers of commerce, community meetings, we have the Buffalo Niagara Partnership here. They have legislative events or legislative luncheons or receptions. I encourage you to go to those. We had Tom, our CEO, and I were at such an event, and one of our state senators came running over to us. And we're like, oh man, he's going to complain about something. And he said, I just want you guys to know, I saw your John Denver special the other day and it was great. So we were like, okay, we're good. And every time we see him, he brings up that John Denver special to the point where like, we should look for a DVD for him. So, you know, you never know who you're going to see. And then same thing when you're out in the community, say hi. I have a second job at KeyBank Center where the Buffalo Sabres play. And I see our political friends there all the time. So I just go up to them and say, hey, I'm Lori from Buffalo Toronto Public Media. I met you at so-and-so, just wanted to say hi. It's just another thing to reinforce that you know who they are. You're not going to bother them. It's not like you're interrupting someone's dinner. You know, wait, don't do that. Don't be like the paparazzi, but just, you know, a little hi to acknowledge that you've seen them. So we've really been able to cultivate a lot of these relationships. With our county executive, we had him in a couple times now, and we just got an increase of about $40,000 in our county funding, just from him coming in and seeing the work that we're doing. So they pay off eventually, maybe not always in money, but they'll be more on your side. They know what you're doing. It's not this nebulous blob of public media. They know all the things that you're providing for the community. So that is our Politician Parade 101 in a nutshell. And then the second piece of this, I'm going to toss over to Heather to talk about Protect My Public Media.
So we actually work hand in hand in a lot of this. And in fact, Lori makes sure that Protect My Public Media never falls off our list of things to promote on social media and through email. It's in a rotation all the time. So like the politician parades, you should keep that going all the time. You should also keep Protect My Public Media in the rotation. So I don't remember when this was, if it was October or November. Oh, it was probably November. We got together as a group and said, we really need to put a plan in place for the next year or 3 for how we're going to approach Protect My Public Media and the ongoing changes or threats to federal funding. So we put together a plan based on cues from Protect My Public Media. Phase 1 is one that we're in all the time. So this is reinforcing our local impact. We have a lot of messages out there about, you know, the great programs and services and the impact we have in our community. And as we mentioned, that we're constantly advocating with our local electeds. That's happening all the time, although it's definitely ramped up in recent months. Phase 2, or as our colleague Pat calls 3-alarm fire, this is actually where we are right now. This is really aimed at our most active audiences, and we're using our local programs and initiatives to inspire the call to action to sign up for Protect My Public Media. We're also asking for testimonials that we'll use in phase 3, which Pat calls the 6-alarm fire. This is when Protect My Public Media will give us the cue for this to say, okay, now's the time we need to implement, you know, no holds barred here. This is if there's an imminent vote or an executive order that goes through. And we are, with this one, the messaging is a lot more urgent. It's contact Congress. It's not just signing up for Protect My Public Media, you know, pick up the phone, send the email. And we're using lots of different ways to communicate this. Lori, jump in at any point if I miss something. So we're a joint licensee with lots of different platforms, and the local impact phase 1 we have running all the time, and we wanted to share one of these spots. If it's quiet or it jumps a little bit, don't worry. We have this presentation available in Google Drive. Actually, I can paste it in right now. Google Drive, along with lots and lots of assets and things that you are free to borrow, steal, whatever you need. We want everybody to be on the same page. But I'm going to play this and then we'll keep moving. So that's an ongoing campaign. It's called This is Public Media, and I'll show you some more pieces of that. And that's what we're expanding for phase 1, just to make sure people know that we're local. There was a lot of national content in that spot, but there was actually quite a bit of local as well. We just have an incredible editor that makes it look as good as natural. Oh, let's not play that again. This is Public Media has lots of other platforms that we promoted on. We've had billboards, print ads, tons and tons of digital ads. And I thought I would just play one of our radio spots.
From in-depth reporting to musical masterpieces, dramas, and mysteries to local bands, Buffalo Toronto Public Media delivers it all. Stay informed, be inspired, and join us. This is Public Media.
So that's kind of the feel of it. And there's lots of scripts and things in that Google Drive. Feel free, you can have that too. And then another thing that don't leave this out is social media and social video, if you can do it. There's lots of great editing tools out there that radio stations can use to make some really incredible video. I think I'll just play this first one.
It was just this loving community.
Public media connects us, whether it's WBFO's group chat or WNED Classical's live on stage performances. Join the movement to ensure these programs continue. Sign up at protectmypublicmedia.org.
So this is part of phase 2, that with the call to action to sign up for Protect My Public Media. I think as I've advanced this, it's going to play a little snippet of each of
Because
these.
we're a new agency, what happens sometimes.
Okay.
I was gonna say, can you play that middle video? Because I just want
Okay.
So this, it's what I think it is, it's with the grant, right? So
Yep.
this was a piece that we had done on the opioid overdose, and this was a small boots on the ground nonprofit that we had showcased, and they had applied for a grant and did not get it. And the day they found out they didn't get it, I'm pretty sure it was like maybe that same day, but very close proximity. They showed the video that we had done, and the funder called them back and fully funded their proposal. So it was very powerful. I mean, it was so they go out into the streets, but if you play it, we had asked them to come in and record a testimonial for Protect My Public Media.
Because we're a new agency, what happens sometimes is, a lot of grant funders, they are hesitant to fund you. So we were on the fence with getting the grant before I sent them the video. It was able to show the grant funder what exactly their money was going to go towards. With that grant, that allowed us to secure a home base. Now we have a location where we do community meals, where we provide services right then and there. So I think the importance is you guys were able to really put boots on the ground with us, really show the city in a lens or in a format that you don't commonly see. So I think it helps to raise awareness to some of the issues that we have in our city, but also what else left do we have to do as a community to better our community? Please, if you can, fund public media, make sure that they're available, because they really put a harder focus on the community, and it really gives a better view of what we really need to get done here.
That's a story that we can't stop telling. That's saving lives. So also in phase 2, of course, we have radio spots. This first one's just 15 seconds and it's pretty darn serious, which actually this VO talent doesn't normally do.
Your voice matters. Sign up to receive updates on threats to federal funding for public media at protectmypublicmedia.org. You can help safeguard the future of Buffalo Toronto public media. Thank you.
And then we have some longer one. Do you want me to skip this one, Lori, or is that okay? Okay. This one's a little bit longer and it does call out some of the national programs. So we're very much about the local, but we have to recognize that some of the national program is really what brings people back to us.
Do you rely on WNED PBS's masterpiece dramas and mysteries for your weekend entertainment? Or captivating episodes from Nova and Nature to learn something new? Or how about revealing and heartfelt moments on finding your roots to feel more connected? Protect these programs and more by signing up for Protect My Public Media. Public media needs your voice to thrive. Visit protectmypublicmedia.org today.
This last one is for a classical station and has a soundbite in it, but I'm going to skip over that. You can listen to it in the presentation at that Google Drive link. So just to remember that we're taking our cues from Protect My Public Media. All of the public media is trying to stay on the same page and use the same kind of messaging and implement the right messages at the right time. So if you're not already signed up as a partner station with Protect My Public Media, be sure to do that. It gives you access to, where we are in this process, gives you updates on what's happening at the federal level, and it gives you access to tons of assets. So if you haven't done that, do that. So phase 3 is the one where, everything's on fire. This is something that joint licensees can do if you are with Joint Master Control. I cannot remember the name of it in Syracuse. Lori, Central Cast. They can help you figure this out. But right now we have a lower third over some of our programming that just says go sign up for Protect My Public Media. And this is ready to go as soon as we get the word that something is imminent. So I'm going to play this for you. You can imagine it's over Nova, Nature, or whatever. So that's something we can implement a little bit faster than the spots. That being said, we do have that stuff coming. We have some lawn signs that we're having printed. Actually, they're shipped already, so hopefully we're getting them in the next few days, as well as some buttons. Our CEO really wants to make sure that people have that they can wear around. One of the things I would like to note with doing this, it's not super cheap. These signs are anywhere from $6 to $10 a piece, and the buttons, actually, they are quite cheap. I returned to a vendor in Rochester, New York, that's really great. But the important thing with these is to have a distribution plan. The last thing you want to do is spend money on something like this and then have no plan to get it out into the community. So definitely, if you decide to invest in something like this, make sure that you have a plan to get it out into the community. And more to come in phase 3 for us. We're updating the spots so that we have that really urgent contact. We're gathering testimonials. I'll show you one in a minute. The volume's a little bit low, but you can crank your volume all the way up when I'm done talking here so you can hear her because she's incredible. Social media, email. We're also garnering some partner support. So like that spot that we did on the Boots on the Ground Harm Reduction organization, we're reaching out to other cultural organizations that we've worked with in the past just to get their support as well. We know everybody's under threat. It's not just us. So that's something, remember, going into those conversations. There's a lot of organizations that are under fire as well. So keep that in mind. And Lori is also coordinating direct letters to legislators from board members, our CEO, lots of, I think NPR is the one spearheading that right now. So for the testimonials, we have a couple different ways we're receiving those. If you use public media apps, there's a talk to us function. You can tell people to go ahead and use that. We also put out a Google form with a Dropbox to upload testimonials, and we've gotten some video and audio. And we don't know Katie, who's the woman right here, but I feel like she's one of my best friends. I'm gonna hit play, but you are gonna want to turn up your volume to hear it. It's a really good testimonial. We did not script anybody. We did send some prompts, and those are available in that Google Drive link. But she did this right up. I don't even know. I haven't even reached out to her yet. This is something she just did on her own. I'm gonna hit play. I think I'm gonna hit play.
Buffalo Toronto Public Media is an integral part of my week. So on my way to and from work during the week, I listen to the news. The local news provided helps me feel like I am part of a bigger regional community. Something like the Disabilities Beat provides me with a perspective that as an able-bodied person, I don't always have. On the weekends, on Saturday and Sunday, the radio is usually tuned one of those days to the weekend programming provided on the channel. Science Friday, The Splendid Table, TED Radio Hour are some of my favorites. And these programs, in addition to the news, don't just leave me feeling informed and educated about what's happening, but they cause me to ask better questions, to engage in conversations with people, make arguments supported by evidence, and leave me inspired and in awe of our natural world. And isn't that what we want for ourselves, our community, and for our children?
I mean, I could have scripted that. It was really amazing. So I definitely urge you to get real community members to explain why public media means so much to them and ask their friends and family to throw their support behind it as well. Yeah. And our contact information is here. So I guess, do I stop sharing now? Scott.
Yeah, thank you so much, Heather and Lori. We're going to stop recording now that that portion is